I have been dying to share a story about my personal love story. I have been dying to share it. I probably share it with anybody who I feel like is willing to listen. And gosh, I was going to talk about something completely different today, and maybe I'll do that later if it comes back to me. But for some reason, while I'm in the shower, always while I'm in the shower, I just had this nudge. Hey, today's the day. Tell the story. Tell the damn story. It's like the perfect manifestation before you knew it manifestation was story. And again, I am not a manifestation guru. I have no idea why every time I get on here I want to talk about manifestation. I can't guarantee that that will be forever, but for now, that's just what I feel like talking about when I get on here. But I just thought it was really interesting. You don't even have to call it manifestation if you don't want to. That's just an easy kind of wrap it all up. I don't know, I'm gonna call it a catch-all term for whatever this is, but all I feel like I know, and who really knows anything, right? But what I feel like I know and have always kind of known, though I've never really belonged to a religion, I've always kind of felt like there was something more, and I talk to it. It could be my imagination, it could be my intuition, it could be both. I don't know, but I've always just believed you could call it praying, I just called it talking into whatever's listening. That's what I used to say. Whoever's listening to me, I don't care. Whoever's listening to me. I used to say that all the time. If whatever you are, if you are listening to me, grandma, God, spirits, I don't think I had heard about spirit guides yet, but I was just, whatever's listening. And I used to just put out there, hey, this is what I need. And I picked up on, I think in my college days, I kind of picked on and would like share with my sister and stuff like, hey, did you know if you ask for things to work out to like the other knowing, whatever I was calling it, did you know that things will just kind of work out? I thought that was so cool. And this is during a time where our phones are not doing what they're doing now. Like, I might have still had a flip phone. The screen, you really were not playing games on this thing. That is not what this was for. This was legit just for calls, and I think texting was kind of being a new thing for me. And usually in technology, I was a step behind. So even if texting was becoming more popular, I wasn't quite there yet. So this is back when my laptop is my main source of information, and I'm only using YouTube to look up llamas with hats. Okay, so the things I'm telling you, these are ideas that just kind of came to me that I produced on my own. Now I'm hearing like it's common knowledge or it's amongst the spiritual community, but for me, like this was just, it come to me, okay? And that's why I feel like it must be real. Like, what a crazy coincidence, because I didn't share this with the whole world. Like, all of a sudden, you know, my thoughts that I had kind of just always suspected are now like everywhere. Okay, I promised this was going to be a relationship story. I'm so sorry. This always is going to turn into a rant. Just know that. Just know that going into my videos that we're going to go here, in here, and maybe here and back here. So if that's not what you're into, it's okay. I understand. It's okay. Thank you for stopping by. But if you were still here, I might actually be ready to share my story. I'm so excited. It is about my husband, and we're still together, and this is about how we met. Okay, so here it is. Some of this story is probably gonna make me seem like a bad person, which is why I don't share it with strangers. And here we are. I decided I was who I was, and I'm gonna share, so I don't care. Ew. It's also like a million degrees out here. I guess it's like a heat advisory, and you know, I'm out here being sweaty and gross after my shower. Okay. Okay. So, since I was a little girl, I'm talking preschool age, love was on the mind. Do not ask me why. I don't know. Was it trauma? Was it just a knowing? Am I special? I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that I knew, maybe it was too many fairy tales, I knew there was a one. My parents personally, they are still together, and I hate to blast their business, but they don't get along very well. They still don't get along very well. And that was like, that was made very obvious to us. I won't get into detail, but that was made very very clear to us from a very young age, and we were pitted against each other. So regardless of that, regardless of seeing how dysfunctional relationships could be, I did not care. I did not care. I don't know why I didn't care. I was like, I'm finding the one. I don't care what you tell me. I don't care what you believe. I'm finding the one. He's going to be like my Prince Charming. I don't care. Okay. This was on my mind though. But I think in my later years, this became kind of a desperation. I needed words of affirmation. That's not even my love language anymore. It used to be though. It was just, I needed constant validation, and I needed it from a man. Boys when I was younger, and then men as I got older, but I needed it. I fed off of it. I could not be single. I couldn't bear to be single. I was always looking for the one. I was looking at every car window that passed when we would be driving. I would, I had Barbies. I was constantly working out all these perfect little relationships in my head, how they would meet, working out all these little love stories. My crushes, they went so deep. But for the life of me, I could not quite attract what I was looking for. Now, I do not want to say that I was dating bad people, because honestly, I don't think I believe in that anymore. I just feel like there was obviously something to learn in every relationship that I was in, but there was just always something that was very, very off just with our dynamic. And, I had all kinds of little issues. I think in a previous video, I might have mentioned that I could be a little narcissistic. And usually I would attract some of those same traits for myself so that we could just bounce off of each other. So fun. That was so fun. Round and round and round. That was all my relationships. I actually started to think it was normal, probably because I was, it was what I was used to growing up with looking at. I thought it was normal to fight every single day. But I would ask myself while in these relationships, I think out loud often, is this it? Is this really it? Is this really the rest of my life? And I think that was evidence that I believed on a deeper level that better was available. And like I've said before, the belief is so strong. Just the belief. You can have doubts, you can make mistakes, but if you believe it in here, not here. Someone was talking about it today. This is only 5% of manifestation. It all of the feeling is the rest. You got to feel it in your subconscious that you deserve better, that there is something out there for you, that you could have something more. I believe that. You don't have to. That's not where you are in your journey. That's fine. I'm just telling you, that's where I've always kind of been, even despite all my anxiety, even despite all of the evidence pointing the other way, despite everything reflecting back to me a reality that I was just gonna live out what my parents live out. Wasn't buying it. I was like, there's something better. There's something better for me. Well, anyway, gosh, this went on for a while throughout my early 20s. And I ended up with a guy. And, well, I was kind of getting to the point where I was feeling like, I forgot how old I was, maybe 24, but I was feeling like I am ready to be in a serious relationship. I want to start my life. That nudge had set in. I'm ready to start my life. So this is the part where you'll think I'm a bad person, maybe. So I got pregnant. And guys, I was so immature. I'm not gonna lie. If I remember correctly, it was on purpose. Like between us both. Okay, it was mutual. I didn't trick anybody. It wasn't like that. I think the reason that I have guilt is because somewhere deeper inside of me, I knew that I was living a lie and that I was not with the one. And I think that's why that's where all this guilt comes from. And then how I handled it is where a lot of my guilt comes from, because after a bit it started to settle in that, oh my God, what have I done? Oh my God, I'm gonna have a baby with somebody that I do not love, and I'm not going to spend the rest of my life with. What do I do? Well, being immature, okay, I don't know if you would call it immature for my age, or you would just, I don't know, but yeah, I just kind of bailed on that and hoped for the best. Oh my God. To this day, I hate that, but it was part of the journey, but I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that that's how I chose to handle that. But I got out. Still pregnant, but I got out. But here's the important part about manifestation that I wanted to get to. So I'm sitting on my bed. I'm back home, sitting on my bed, sitting in front of my laptop. I make a declaration out loud, just intuitively. I make a declaration. Okay, whoever's listening, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not playing the game anymore. This dating game of all of this ridiculousness, all these games, all this, the relationship that I left was not always very nice. In fact, it was a little crazy, very toxic on both of our ends. I'm gonna admit, on both of our ends. But the relationship that I left was toxic. I did need to get out, regardless of me being ashamed of how I did it. It wouldn't have been safe for me to stay, in my opinion. And from my point of view is what I mean. Because again, I do not believe anyone that I was in a relationship to be a bad person. Sometimes people are just toxic for each other, and sometimes that's by design. That's for growth. And I'm not angry with any of these people. So I do not mean any of this to be cruel. But anyway, I'm getting off track. I told you I would. Where did I leave off? So I'm sitting on the bed in front of my laptop making the declaration that I'm done. I'm finding the one, or they're finding me. And this is the important part. I don't know if you remember just a few minutes ago when I said that I couldn't stand to be alone. I had to have somebody at all times. This was a difficult declaration, okay? Do not think that I said this out loud, taking it lightly, because I knew I was going to struggle, okay? I expected a struggle. I didn't say this hoping a little bit. I mean, maybe there was some hope, but I didn't really say it with an expectation that, oh, you know what, it'll probably work out faster. I meant it. And this is what I said to the universe that I meant. I don't care if it takes years. I don't care if it takes 10 years. Like, I was aggressive. I don't care if it takes 10 years. I'm not doing this anymore. The next one that I actually get into a relationship with, that's going to be the one. I'm not playing around anymore. I'm not playing anymore. I'm not playing this getting back in this loop. I'm not hooking up with guys who end up not being interested. I'm not playing around, because that was another part of the equation. So when I didn't have a relationship, I was usually, you know, bouncing around, making a not so nice name for myself. I'm sure that you could think of what that would be. And I was done. I was being taken advantage of. I was being what people call easy. Honestly, it's how I kind of see myself. It's how I saw myself. Because I was desperate. I was always desperate. I had all this desperate energy. It was not serving me. Not anymore. And I was done. I declared it. I made it fact. In fact, I went on to, and I don't know if this is still a thing, but it was OkCupid. It was a free dating app. I got on there and I decided that I was still going to play a part in this process. I wasn't just gonna stand back and just hope I run into somebody. I was gonna get on I was gonna use the platform available to me to hopefully find somebody, but I was open, of course, to anything else that would come up. So I get on OkCupid and I erased the bio that I had, the pick me energy kind of bio, anything that I kind of censored, and I just rewrote it. I included that I was pregnant with somebody else's kid. I included pieces about my real personality. I included what I do not like. I was truthful. Was I probably as truthful as I'm able to be today? No, I was not as mature as I am today, but I at least had this much clarity. I had enough clarity to get what I wanted. I didn't have to be all the way healed, guys. I didn't have to be healed. I just had to get clear. I just had to say it. I just had to demand it. I hate it, not demand, but I mean, I was like, this is my declaration, and I decided I'm the boss. I became the boss of my reality. I became the boss. And honestly, I'm hearing more and more, when you are the boss of your reality, that's how you bring it in. That's how you bring it in. When you decide you're the boss. I haven't learned to do that in every situation in my life, but I managed it for this one. But anyway. So I changed my profile on this dating app. And I believe there was communication with a few guys that ended up being pass. But then, I'm like sweating. I found a picture of my now husband, and he had a kid on his shoulders. And I remembered thinking, okay, I'm not sure if I am ready for a relationship with somebody with a child. Like, that was just something I really, if I was honest with myself, I wasn't ready for it. Despite the fact that I was currently pregnant, I hadn't really wrapped my head around that yet, okay? I gotta be honest about where I was. I decided for some reason that I would just take a chance anyway. I was like, you know what? I think I could stretch my maturity. I think it probably along those lines, the thought was, I think I could stretch my maturity. Not in those exact words. And I took a chance. I was like, I don't know if this person's the one, but I just feel like, let's send him a hi. What's up? I don't even know what I said. Probably not a lot. Probably wasn't even a paragraph. I was just putting myself out there. And he did message me back. The funny thing is that he thought I was pranking him. He thought it was a fake account made by an ex-girlfriend. and that it was all a joke and that I wasn't real. So I'm so fortunate that he took a chance on me, because oh, that'd have been a close one. So something else I ended up doing differently is, I guess we talked for a little bit, and then I don't exactly know how we got into it, but usually what I would do is I would wait to see how a guy was going to kind of, how he likes to interact, how he likes to connect, and then I would just kind of come to you, go to where you are, meet you where you are. This time, I brought him into my world. So for me, that looked like I just started spamming him with YouTube videos that I thought were funny. Though that might not seem super personal, for me, that was me introducing my actual humor. That is how I like to connect. At the time, that's how I actually connected with people that I was closest with. I would share humor with them. And I had never done that with other guys. I didn't share humor with them. I just kind of followed their lead. I let him into my world. As quirky and silly and weird as it might have seemed, I decided I was not going to be judged for who I was, or at least I was not going to judge myself for it anymore. I was going to let you in, and you can come in or you can stay out. And he came in and he met me there, and we just swapped videos back and forth, and I had a video for him and he'd be like, oh, watch this one. It was probably the most fun of a first conversation I'd actually had. And he asked me to, to have a date with him where he would cook for me and we would watch a movie at his house. Looking back, I'm thinking, girl, you didn't know him. Why you go to his house? You are so lucky that he was him and not someone crazy. But oh well, I took a chance, right? I'm alive. It's okay. But I agreed, and I'm going to admit that during that date, there were times where I thought, I am repeating the same cycle again. But he asked me to be his girlfriend by the end of that night. And though I had not fallen in love, that was a very good feeling that there was no game. There was no game. There was no, okay, so do I wait 3 or 4 days for him to call me back? Immediately asked me to be his girlfriend. It was like that awkward. It was so funny. It was just like when you're kids and someone's trying to ask you if you'll be their girlfriend or boyfriend. It was just like that. It was so funny to me. Like, oh my God. Like, I thought there were all these different adult rules. And here we are. He's just asking me, will you be my girlfriend? It was so funny. And of course I said yes. And we became pretty inseparable. Now, about the baby, he was perfectly acceptable. I mean, he knew right off the bat. In fact, I'm pretty sure that anybody who messaged me, even before him, like once I'd made that declaration, I made it very clear up front, like, hey, I'm pregnant with someone's kid. You need to know I'm pregnant. There will be a baby. But anyway, so he knew. And I unfortunately did miscarry that baby. And it was very, It was very, very difficult time. And though he had only known me for, gosh, I don't know, maybe a week, he was so loyal and so just by my side every step of the way, as though I had always known him. He was there through the tears. Obviously, you know, there was no intimacy right after. So, he dealt with that plus all the tears, and he stayed right by my side. There was a time where it kind of freaked me out how good things were, and so I remember deliberately starting a fight. And he went out, and he sat on the couch, and he came back in, and I don't know what it was, but we both started to laugh like we were being ridiculous. I still don't even understand that moment. I think I was just testing him to see if he could handle my craziness. Probably. It was probably a pre-test. Because our relationship, we did rush into having our first child because I think because I was so heartbroken after the baby I just lost, that I had been feeling ready to start my family, that we rushed into the family process. I had decided you're the one. And we went for it. And we have been through job losses, disagreements, fake breakups. We have manipulated one another, probably more me than him. I'm gonna be honest. We have been through spiritual awakenings. We've been through it. There have been times where I've thought, I don't think I could do this anymore. But a few years ago, I had made a decision to change my mindset. I didn't like who I was being, and I didn't like how I was making him feel and the people around me feel, and I decided to make a big change. And our relationship is even better now than when we met. And we were instantaneously glued to one another. It was a very intense, very clear, obvious connection. Like after the first few days of knowing him, it was like, oh, you're the one. Like I knew we clicked. You were not getting us apart. But yeah, I think with kids and stuff, that became in struggle and gosh, evictions from apartments and money loss and just issues with childbirth and all kinds of stuff that we have had to go through together. Trust issues. Today, as of a few years ago, when I decided I'm changing my mindset. I'm changing it. I'm not being this way anymore. I know I manifested him, now I'm going to manifest him back, is basically what I felt like. And since then, seeing him in a new light and deciding that that's how I was going to be, and I'm going to see him the way that I'm going to see him from my heart, not my brain, but from my heart. Not from a defensive place, but from a human place. I'm going to view him as a human. I'm going to put myself in his shoes and imagine, like, could I do the same? Have I always been great? You know, because honestly, I mean, I think that we, all in all, we're a pretty strong couple. Otherwise, we wouldn't still be together, and I wouldn't have even tried to get us back on track. But today, we are even stronger than we were, to a point where, once again, it sometimes freaks me out just how bonded we are and how abundant the love feels. It just keeps coming. I doubt it, and it just comes harder at me. And I know that that's because there is that deeper part of me that believes that I can have it. Whether I deserve it or not, I can have it. And so things in the love department have been better than ever. And again, I just really want to share that story. It is my favorite love story because it is mine. And I cannot believe that it happened to me. And I don't even know if this is going to be helpful to anyone, because I mean, really, my biggest desire is that I help people. But today I just felt like I'm telling my story today. I'm telling the story. I'm telling the love story. So if you stuck around this long, thanks for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed my story. Maybe you got something out of it. I'd love to know if you did. Yeah, I think that's it. I ran out of things to say, but thank you so much. I love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.